Okay guys, so here's the situation. You're home, you're bored, quarantined. So you decide to pack a bag of snacks and water and you're gonna go hike the trails by your house. Well, as you're hiking, you come across this pond. And on the other side of the pond, you see some ducks hanging out. So you figure, I'm gonna throw some ducks some food and feed them. Well, when you throw something up in the air, it creates a parabola. It creates an upside down parabola. So as you throw the food, it's going to follow the path of this parabola here, and it's going to land on the other side, hopefully feeding the ducks. Well, what you don't realize is right above you, there's a hawk watching every single one of your movements. He's hungry too. So at some point, as you're throwing food, the hawk's going to swoop down, and he's going to take the food away from the duck mid-air, and then he's going to land over here in the water and eat his food. Okay, so let's talk about a couple key features on this parabola. Let's look at these points first. Got that blue point over there, you've got that blue point right there. Well, those points are your x-intercepts, also known as your zeros, your roots, your solutions. We've got the other point up top, and what's known as our vertex. This vertex happens to be a maximum because the parabola is opening downward, therefore it has a maximum value of 4. That means that the highest point that food is going to reach as you throw it is 4 feet. What else is important about that vertex is that it also gives me the value for the axis of symmetry. The axis of symmetry is that line that splits the parabola right down the middle, and we get the value for that equation from the x value of the vertex. So key features for the parabola. Another major key feature for this parabola, and it's important in this situation, is the y-intercept right here. The y-intercept in a word problem would be your starting point, initial value, beginning, things like that. So there are your key features for the parabola. So let's talk about key features for our line. Well, we have this point right here, and that's also the that is the y-intercept for that line. Again, in this situation, that would be the starting point for the hawk. Maybe the hawk is sitting on a branch on a tree, and he's watching you, and he decides when he's gonna drop down and get that snack. Well, the closest point for that hawk to get that snack is going to be right here at that maximum value. So those are the 2 points that were chosen to create this line. This hawk also will land down here somewhere between 2 and 3 seconds as far as when we're talking about the x values. So there are the key features for the parabola and the line. And let's talk real quick about domain and range. Now, we have to talk about reasonable domain and range because this would be a real-world scenario. This is where this y-intercept for the quadratic piece comes into play. That piece right there would be where the height that I would be throwing, or the height that you would be throwing that piece of food. If you're throwing the food, kind of underhand, your hand would be about 3 feet off the ground, and so that's where the initial start of the throw would happen, and then from there it would drop up and then come back down. Okay, so if we're talking about like a reasonable domain for this situation, it would be all my x values have to be between 2 numbers. Well, the x value here is 0. That's times 0 before I throw it. And then it's landing all the way over here at those ducks on the other side, about 3 seconds. So that would be a reasonable domain for this situation. Anything between 0 and 3 seconds of me throwing that piece of food to the duck would be a reasonable value for an x value. So let's look at our range. So range, we talk about y values, okay? And we're talking about y values for this parabola. So again, they're going to be between 2 values. Now, we have our starting point right here. You have your starting point, but that height of 3 is between other values. You got to take into consideration that the lowest point that the snack is going to be is down here. Well, that's the water or the ground, so that's 0. The highest point it's going to be is up here, the maximum. And that maximum value is 4. So that means that my y values can be anywhere between 0 and 4. And so that would be a reasonable range for the situation. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope this video and this project helps for you to understand hopefully how you're going to make your final project. Good luck.